Hi, this is Scott Harriet, and you're listening to the Bigfoot Club podcast.
Hey guys, please go to our website at www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. Check out all our merch and all our old episodes. Also, please look for our social media on Twitter, Facebook, on Instagram at Bigfoot Club, the number 1. Also, check out Matt Knapp's Bigfoot Crossroads. He is on all platforms. If you have any paranormal or Bigfoot stories, please email us at bigfootclub1@gmail.com. Hey everybody, Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club, Season 5, Episode 6. I'm here with Steven, my nephew. Steven, say what's up.
Hi, Uncle Robert.
You're so goofy, I swear. So, I'll just cut to the chase here. You know, I'm really, really happy to have this guest on. We were supposed to have him on December for our finale for last season 4, but Grandma got sick, so we had to postpone. And this guy, I just want to say, it's been a heavy influence on me growing up, and he's a mentor of mine. I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now today doing this show without this gentleman in my life. And whenever I was sick, he drove from East Texas to come see me, and that I will not ever forget. So I just want to welcome back into the club, Luke Gross. Luke.
Yo, what is going on, guys?
So I know I didn't tell you I was going to do a grand entrance like that. So.
No, you didn't. Thank you for the grand entrance, but dang,
it wasn't as great as you coming out of those double doors with those
stilts.
Yeah,
stilts. Well, I wanted to let everybody know that was approximately the height of the first one I ever seen. Was where they put me right at 8 foot tall with the stilts. Right. Now, could I get on the stilts today? No, I would fall. I am so top heavy. No, excuse me, midsection heavy. And I would do a face plant so fast, you have no idea.
I don't know. You did that. I was scared. I remember. I just kept, you were just like, just open the doors. I go, but you're going to have to, like, duck down. And you're like, I can do it. And I was like,
This was at the USBC Earl Anthony conference room. We were doing a Pentex paranormal conference, and it was I can't remember what year that was. It was probably like
I think 2009. I think
was it 2009?
I was gonna say it was before the boys were born.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Luke came out with like stilts, trying to give like an eye version to the crowd.
Did he do the whole presentation in the stilts?
No,
okay.
No.
I was about to say. I was thinking, impressive. I go, was he doing that? Can't remember.
That was fun though. That was fun.
That was just one of the many impressive things that you have done, Luke.
Luke, I want to say this, and I know you're not going to say this, but I want to say, before I met you. That was what 99, 2000, 99, 2000. Before I met you, you were with another group, and whenever I did finally got to meet you, we had formed Texas Bigfoot Research Center, and before you were on the scene, before Bigfoot was on the scene in Texas, there was like no websites, there was no groups, there was nothing about Texas and Bigfoot. Nope. So I want to say that I've always said this on other shows, that you are the grandfather of Texas Bigfoot.
Well, that's cool. There are others out there researching, and there were, but as far as having a big group of people, I wanted to have researchers all over the state of Texas, everywhere, and that didn't happen. But that's okay. That's okay. I become independent and learned so much more on my own, and I could form my own opinion and through hypotheses and all that stuff. And I learned a lot. And instead of having the headache of, okay, what's going on here? Who's doing this? Who's doing what? And I enjoyed it. I loved working with people. I wanted to tell people about what was going on out there that very few knew of what was going on out in the woods. and and I got laughed at plenty when I started talking.
Mm-hmm.
People, oh man, you're my own family, my brother. You know, he said, you didn't see nothing, and because the first one I seen was with my mom.
Yeah, your mom's house, right? Your mom's house?
Yeah, on her front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, hey, if you think I'm lying, then you're calling Mom a liar too. And that didn't sit too well with him.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know. And I told him, just because you didn't see one, you haven't seen one, doesn't mean I haven't.
It was a tan one, right? It was a
khaki color.
Khaki color, yeah. That's always been embedded in my mind whenever I first got on the phone with you. And I think when I first got on the phone with you, I think we talked like for 4 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
And we were just talking, and I was like trying to be a sponge and trying to get, because I have to say that it was just by blind luck I found you, and because like I know like any other person, like in 99 2000, I just typed in the word Bigfoot, and it brought up a Don Keating's Bigfoot conference, and it had a picture of you wearing a cowboy hat, and I don't know why, for some reason it had your email on there,
right?
And so I emailed you and I said, hey, how does one contribute to Texas Bigfoot? And I think Craig had reached out to me and told me that you were in like Missouri with Boudros. And,
that's right.
And like I think after you got back, you called me and you told me everything that you thought about Bigfoot, and then you invited me to join TBRC. And so at that time, I remember telling my mom that, and she was like, "You're going to a stranger's house, and you're going to talk about Bigfoot." And I go, "Yeah, Mom." So she was not pleased, but I went to go do it anyway because it was. I mean, we met. I met with some good people, and
oh yeah, definitely,
including you and Rand Trusty, Gino Napoli, Ricky Moon, Buddy Britt, Jerry Heston, Cindy Goodbrake. I'm probably leaving some people out. Craig.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people, and were you there? You were at Craig's when everybody got together.
Yes,
and I had that one video that I played of when I was casting some tracks down behind my house or my mom's house.
Yeah, and
that one come by and ducked behind some real small trees and some logs down.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it at first. Actually, I didn't see it at all. I heard it, and then I was just panning the camera, and I reviewed the video, and it's sitting there showing me its teeth, just opening its mouth, showing teeth. And it's like, holy cow. I couldn't believe that.
Did you think it was a male? It was
I didn't see enough of it it could have been a male, because they moved up and down that fence row, and it could have been saying, "Hey, I'm here, get out," or just observing me. And to me, showing of teeth would be kind of an aggressive behavior. That's like, look at me, I am the big Kahuna right here, right now.
Did it rock back and forth or side to side?
No, not when I seen that one. No, the one on my mom's front porch. Yes, it did. When it got in front of the door, blocked out the door, it just swayed back and forth just for a short while, and it turned and stepped off the porch. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
that was 1984 for Pete's sake. And but
But what is your thought on infrasound?
Oh, infrasound. Well, for a long time, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I thought it was a bunch of BS. I really did, until I experienced what I believe was infrasound. Now, I can't say for sure that it was infrasound, but it made me. It was out at Leah's place, and there was a bunch of us sitting up on the balcony of the horse barn, and I've been hearing one moving up and down this creek. There was a big tin horn, a tunnel that went under the road there. And I've been hearing it coming from there. And I said, well, I'm going. Everybody stay here. And I went down, was walking down the road. It was a gravel road. It's pretty noisy. And when I got to the tunnel that went under the road and the creek ran to the right, I just stopped, just froze. And why? I don't know. It felt like somebody threw a warm blanket over me. And it was real, maybe it was another instinct, an instinct that we have no idea that's there, or ones that's just, they're there all the time, but we don't ever use these instincts unless something is in danger. But I thought that was infrasound, actually. And a lot of honest people I've talked to have said that they'll get sick, they'll get headaches. I think it's a good possibility. Tigers can do it. Whales can do it.
Elephants can do it, right?
Elephants definitely can do it. They communicate with their deep bellows. So, no, I think there's a real good chance. Can I say yes for sure? No. But I think there's a good chance of it.
After I left TBRC, I did maybe about 10 investigations on the side, just me talking to people. And I actually gone back. I've reached out back to some of these people. And after I had talked to many people about infrasound and went back and I asked that question, I said, you know what? I never asked this question. I wanted to ask you this. Did you feel sick? Did you feel nauseated? And a lot of times, like most of the investigations I was doing, they would say, yes, I did. I did feel sick. I do feel like my head was hurting, or because everybody has different feelings when it comes to like EMF or infrasound and stuff. So I find it fascinating that that is something that back then we didn't even touch on that. We didn't even go to that, and
there was a lot of things we didn't touch on.
Yeah.
Back then. But, a lot of things have come forward since then. People's experience and habituation, for instance. Oh, somebody would mention the word habituation. I'd say, you are so crazy.
Yeah.
And come to find out, I wound up in a habituation myself. And, I was one who always wanted to say, okay, I have to see it to believe it, or experience it to believe it.
I wanted to say this, Luke, that and I've said this to so many people that every time, like I know I've taken Steven when he was really little. Do you recall that, Luke? A couple of times. He was like 10 or 11 or something like that. But every time I went in the woods with you, Luke, for some reason I always feel safe, and I cannot, because like I've been to a lot of areas. I've been to Oklahoma, Ohio, Arkansas, Louisiana, North Carolina, Texas, Oklahoma and stuff. But I've been like really scared in some areas. I said, okay, this is some really deep stuff and it's some really heavy like activity. But every time I went in the woods with you, I was always calm and collective and I don't know. I always tell Steven, I go, Luke's here. It's okay. Because Steven
that's so funny.
Yeah, he would be so scared. Steven was like, right, Steven, you'd be scared. And I go, Luke's here. Everything's okay.
I was going to say something, but you're going to have to edit it out. So I'm going to
go ahead.
No, well, I mean, what I should have just picked up on, if a certain individual was there, I knew we weren't going to go deep in the woods.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, no, there was one time whenever we went, I forgot where it was. It was like near like some lake or something, and you were saying like, or Bob was telling me like he saw me like freaking out in a way because the thought of being out there at night, you can't see. It's already scary for a 10-year-old. But he was all like, hey, if a Bigfoot was here, you would I forgot what you said.
You would hear it crash into the woods.
Yeah, you would hear no. At first you were like, you hear the crickets, you hear all the bugs and everything.
Oh
and
yeah,
automatically stop. And for some odd reason, it stopped. Like
oh my goodness!
They stopped chirping or whatever. The crickets stopped going off, and I was like, oh god. And then you were like, no, it's fine. If it was a Bigfoot, you would hear something like going through the woods, and there was something going through the woods. It was armadillo.
Yeah,
but I was just like. I go, really, Robert? You're 2 for 2 on this. You're not helping on this. But yeah, no, I remember the countless times where I went with you, and I was just like, man.
I don't know why. For some reason, when Luke was there, I just always felt safe.
It got better. Like when we went to that graveyard site.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had that.
Oh.
Where was it at?
That was
Hallsville.
Hallsville.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was probably like the best.
It was.
It clicked. It clicked with me that day, or right then and there. It was nothing but adrenaline, and it wasn't fear. It was always adrenaline. So I was like, "Oh, Luke was right." It's
You know what, Luke? Steven didn't go to this one, but Ash and Chris Collops and I, after we interviewed you, do you remember that in season 2? We drove to Hallsville, and we were there for I think we were there for a couple hours, probably like 5 or 6 hours. And it's like right off the road. I don't think there's any power lines close by there or nothing like that. But I had an EMF detector, and it was going off the whole time we were there. It was like going off at 20 milligauss.
Holy cow!
And, I think we got a couple of EVPs or something like that, and then we had like some calls, but they were way distant. It was hard to tell what they were. Probably like a coyote or something, but we did get some calls and stuff. I think I sent it to you, but I probably need to do it again. But
yeah.
But,
I'd like to. I could hear it better with the headphones I have on now.
Yeah. So
you guys sound like you're sitting right next to me. So
yeah, and same here. Like you have probably been the clearest guest that we've talked to on the phone. It's amazing. It's literally like you're right next to us.
That's awesome.
Sorry,
Sebastian.
It's all good. All good.
I was going to ask you, what do you feel about the Bigfoot researchers today?
Oh, you're going to have me go down that road again?
I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, we can talk about something else.
No, everybody's. I think most researchers are dedicated to having an experience with one, okay, or more, but they're not dedicated to documenting their findings. It's all about the experience and not documenting their findings, which is incredible to me. Back in the day, was incredibly important, and still to this day, it should be. Because the more you learn about, take for instance food sources. What would be one of their main food sources? One of their main. I know they eat all kinds of things. Opportunistic feeders.
Yes.
And, but at certain times of year, you find out what they eat, you document it, and you say, oh, this time of year, I should be in areas that has this food source or this type of forest. And it just helps you out in the long run. And I'm not dissing the researchers, really. It's just, and I understand wanting to have an experience with one, but most of them aren't out to solve the mystery, just to themselves. That's all. And me, it was, I want to solve it at one point in time, but I've found out a lot of things since those days.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I see a lot of people doing stuff that we did like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I don't shoot them down, or I don't talk bad about them. I said, yeah, I did that 20 years ago. And
yeah. Well, I was at a conference, and there was here in Texas, and there was somebody giving a presentation, and it was something that I'd covered, like you said, 20 years ago, and it was like, well, dang it, man. I guess there's nothing new been learned if you're covering that from years ago. Just try to, if you're, I understand you have new people coming in that's so very interested in the subject, and they need to know these things too. Mm-hmm. But, let's get on with some new stuff here. And I keep hoping to hear something new, but I don't. Everybody keeps things so close. They don't talk about it.
I think the newest things I've seen research wise is the drones.
Yes.
And there's been I don't know if it's real or not, but there's been ones where there's a couple I've seen on the internet where it's like a drone and you can see something walking and then it like hugs a tree and it knows it's there.
Yes,
and then the drone is just like there because they see something and then you can see it running, boom, just take off.
Yeah.
And you're all like, okay, that's something there. And it's all black, so it's all like
Yes,
noticeable.
I wish we had drones whenever we were doing it. So
That is the only thing where I'm all like, okay, that's something new. That's something.
Yeah.
Instead of just you going through the woods, this guy literally parked off the road, turned on the drone, and it went miles, and then he saw something.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah,
I think I've seen that
it's in
one.
the snow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
Yeah.
could be
There's
fake,
lots of
but
there's lots of new tools that can be used. That since the price of infrared's coming down, it's not as expensive as it was. I was fortunate enough to see one on infrared. It was a gray and white, an old come from a fire station, and I got to see one and got a bunch of kids scared half to death. And I said, "Look at this! It's looking at us." "Oh, Mr. Gross, we need to go right now. We need to go right now." "No, it's all right. They're just looking at us." I think I told that story last time I was here.
yeah,
But I don't have many news stories, but I do have stuff that I covered years ago. But oh well, here I am.
there was one that's always stuck with me that you were telling me about one time. I think it was, I can't remember who was with you. It could have been Buddy. It could have been Jerry Heston. But this was in Kingston, Oklahoma. You were telling me a story about y'all were sitting in the woods. I think either Jerry's car or Buddy's car, and y'all drove into the woods, and y'all were sitting on the tailgate, and y'all had found some Mexican plums, and y'all had taken them off this bushel, and y'all were eating them, and y'all were sitting on and the sun was going down, it was getting dark. And you could hear something moving, I think either from the left to the right or right to the left. And you could hear it like going toward the like these plums. And then whenever they found out these plums weren't there, they got angry.
Yeah, that was in Kingston, Oklahoma. That was when I was researching with another group.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was crazy. It was, excuse me, it didn't want us eating its food. They were Chickasaw plums, and
Okay.
so delicious. And we just walked up to didn't think anything about it, man, and we just walked up and grabbed the plums and started eating them. Well, we didn't really stop and think that maybe we're eating something else's food, which we were.
Yeah.
And it was highly pissed off about it.
Did you laugh at it?
Oh, hell no. No, not with the sounds it was making.
Yeah.
And, it was just one of those deals. And I remember going out with the original witness there who'd seen one by a shooting range. And I think it was me and, I can't remember who it was, Del Barry, if I'm not mistaken. And we were going out, and he had a rifle with him. And a pecan tree leaf would just twitch real quick, and this guy come unglued. He was really scared, and we went out, had another encounter there. Didn't get to see it. It was my fault because I had the spotlight, and we'd hung a piece of chicken up on a cedar tree. We're pretty high up, and I heard this. We all heard it. It was a swishing sound, like swish, swish. And all of a sudden, the guy behind me yelled, "Over there!" And by the time I turned my light on, it was so fast, it moved from around the cedar tree and went for the chicken and made it back into the canyon behind it. And we all rushed forward, and you could hear the rocks just clacking. And it was my fault because I didn't turn the spotlight on fast enough, which sucked. But that's just how it was. I did it twice. And another one was over in pretty close to where I had my first encounter where I had my first encounter, and we were sitting there, got out of the truck, had the spotlight, and as soon as we got out of the truck, you could hear these calls coming from the northwest of us. So it was November, cold, and shoot, all of a sudden you hear these calls coming from the northwest, and so we're sitting there or standing there next to the truck, and all of a sudden you hear footsteps, heavy footfalls coming through the woods, and the leaves were being crunched and everything. And I had the spotlight held up to where I thought it was going to come out at, and I just squeezed, and it was too soon. You could hear it turn around and walk back, but it wasn't finished with us yet. It moved around us, and we went and sat on the tailgate of the truck, and there was a tree, I guess about 30 feet high, up, and I would say 50 feet away from us. And this tree just started whipping back and forth. Whip, 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 whip. Wow. Holy crap. And the only thing we had was a 9mm, which...
That would just piss it off.
Yeah.
Tickle it.
And, yeah, that would tickle it. And it was like... but it did that and left, and that was all the activity. But so many different encounters and things that... Really, I've had some that's really made me think, how they do what they do. Of course, if I've been in the woods as long as they have, I probably could do it too. Yeah. But just amazing things,
I mean, I've encountered some stuff that, I didn't even, I think at the time I didn't even like try to post it anywhere because I didn't want to be, made fun of and stuff. So, because I know I was in Lamar County with Buddy and Ken Marble and Tim Clay, and and we had a lot of weird stuff happen out there. And I know that people will say that most of that stuff was hoaxed and stuff, but I know for a fact that we're like Bigfoot out there. I know that for a fact. All the stuff that we've encountered, like whenever we were the TBRC and after I left, and then there was like some other guy that kept messing around with our stuff, and all that stuff after that to me got tainted. But I know that for a fact that there were like Bigfoot stuff out there. But there was stuff going on there, Luke, that I could not explain. I could not, like, I don't know. I mean, I was gifting a bunch of stuff, and I never posted that anywhere. And these Bigfoot were like gifting me like shiny rocks or dead birds or even like herbs.
Right.
And like the homeowner there told me, he goes, "Hey, you should drink it like a tea." And I drank it like a tea, and I had like the wildest dreams, the wildest dreams about a Bigfoot walking up to me and telling me, "Hey, we're here, be kind to us," and so, just stuff like that. And I can't explain it, but I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen to me.
What else did you put in the tea? That's what I want to know.
It wasn't chamomile, that's for sure.
No, it was not.
So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just think, I don't know. I just wanted to tell you that I'm so grateful that I got a chance to meet you and have you in my life. And I mean, Luke, I wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for you.
Well, thanks, Robert. But it's like everybody come in and let's learn together, and that's what I wanted to do is teach everybody. And then you came in, and it's like this guy's really got it for Bigfoot. He really does. And it was like, okay, come on, let's go. And you've experienced stuff with me out in the field, and Stephen has too. And it's like, and then I've experienced stuff that I never, ever thought I would. Never. And it's just amazing, how far can you go down? Can you go down the rabbit hole?
Yeah.
But, I went as far down the rabbit hole as I think I could. I've never had mind speak. No, never had that.
Yeah,
never.
I was going to ask you, what did you think about mind speak? So,
honestly, I don't know. they can control somehow, some way. They can shut a dadgum camera off. They can turn your video camera off that quick.
Yeah.
And not even touch it. And that I've experienced that. And like I said, I'll talk about it. If I've experienced it, I will talk about it. Mm-hmm. And more than once had recorders go off, cameras. We were 5 feet from one in Arkansas. 5 feet. And he was on the other side of some really thick, short trees or bushes. And John held the camera up over his head and started to video. Mm-hmm. The camera shut off that quick. The battery just instantly drained. Gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's stuff like that. I can say, hey, I don't know. Can I contribute it to the Bigfoot? Possibly. Or could I, they may have things they can do that we haven't even discovered yet. And you know, as far as mine speak, I can't say they do or they don't. I've never experienced it before. But I've experienced pissed off Bigfoot because I haven't come out to communicate with them.
Right.
Not over food. I never...
Territorial?
No, not territorial. Just pissed because I didn't come out and interact with him as far as in a roundabout way interaction with the syllabic and stuff. I've had them mad. They could come up and smack the side of the house. And I'd say, okay. So I go outside, lay my little syllabic down, and lo and behold, everything's good again. You know, it's stuff like that, you know, that they have a language. They have a speaking language. They can speak, you know, and as far as I'm concerned, they have a type of written language. And people, I say that, and people listen to this show, and it goes, that dude's wacko. Well, come let me take you to a few places.
You know, I know. I talked to you off show a lot of times on the phone back when I was with Kenny and Buddy and Mike and Tim, but we were experiencing some stuff. Like we were experiencing in the field, sticks on the ground, or sometimes they would be stuck in the ground, or sometimes it'd be like something written on dirt. And I know you were experiencing the same thing.
Yes, I was.
At the same time, and we didn't even talk about it, did we? We ever talk
Nope.
about this? So
never talked about it.
Because I know you had a YouTube where you were doing like I'll let you explain it.
Well, I had a lot of YouTube, but this one was this was so intricate, and it's multiple symbols, but made out of two simple X's. And they would rotate the branches 1/4 turn, and in between, they would take the right branch, top branch, and set it on the left, and the top branch of the left side and set it on the right, and then they would replace them. But in between this, there were symbols. If they were laid on the ground, it created different types of symbols. I believe there was 20 different symbols that were made out of these two X's. And that, to me, that was amazing. It was amazing. And all they would have to do is to move the branches themselves and the X's, and they would automatically know what it says. If you think about that.
Right.
And, but that was amazing. You know, and like I said, I was barbecuing some chicken in November. It was nice outside. So I'm barbecuing and a rock gets thrown at me. Bing! Lands right next to me. And I knew what it was. Nothing else throws rocks out there. So I turn around, and I know I've told this story again, but guess what? I'm going to tell it again.
Do it.
And I walked to the fence line. I grabbed some branches, and I held them up in my hand, and I broke them, and then I laid some syllabic down on top of an old dog kennel that I had out there. And I went about my business. The next day, I came out there and looked. These symbols were changed. They were totally moved around. And no wind, no rain, nothing like that. Something had moved them during the night. Well, I made a mistake and tried to get a picture. And the land next to mine, there was a home that was there. Well, they'd moved and they'd left a bunch of stuff there. Mm-hmm. But they'd left this little yellow tractor or a Jeep or something. It was a kid's toy, pretty big, about 3 foot long, 1.5 feet tall. And, well, it was always upright. The wheels were always touching the ground. Well, I went and put a game camera on the back of an old lawnmower I had sitting out there. And the activity ceased. It stopped. And I walked out there and I noticed that little toy or that little tractor had been flipped upside down with the wheels facing up. Because in my mind, they said, okay, this has 4 wheels. That thing has 4 wheels. I'm surprised they didn't flip the lawnmower over.
Yeah.
And they would, I had a tree full of pears. I go out there one day, there's all the pears. I go out there the next, there's not one. But there's a chicken egg laying under the tree. There are no chickens around my house. There was a chicken egg under the tree. Oh, that's not a really good swap. I was going to make some pear jelly out of that, guys. But, they probably been feeding on them for forever. But
I was going to say that if only we knew what we were communicating with whenever we changed those sticks around. I mean,
yeah, and I never. One time. I got an answer, but I was using, what was it? As a type of language. It was a Celtic language.
Ogham.
Yeah, I was using Ogham. And I put out an Ogham symbol, friend, and I got back Bamoa is what I got back. I'm sitting there, what is Bamoa? I looked up
Bamoa.
Bamoa.
Okay.
And I looked up Bamoa, and the Bamoa Indians were in South America, which had moved up through Mexico and up into northern Mexico and into Arizona, which were the Hopi Indians. And it was, or southern Arizona, but it was part of the Hopi tribe, was the Bamoa tribe. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, how is this connected? And I didn't misread it, what it said, because trust me, it's been years researching this. And, but that was what it said, but that was all I got. And, another, friend, Tina Harder in Ohio, was using the same things. And she got this really incredible response where they moved the branches. And I couldn't understand. I couldn't even tell what it said. And I looked, but they were using a different type of Ogham, not Celtic.
Wow.
It was. They're smart. They're smart. They're so smart. And and a lot of people out there saying, "Well, they're apes." No, they're way more than apes.
Yeah,
way more. And I'll sit here and say that they're way more than apes.
Do you think that they pass this information on for generations?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They have to. Because it's found all over across North America. Mm-hmm. Canada, Winona, she was in Canada getting reactions. Pennsylvania, the same thing. Ohio, Maryland.
You were doing this in multiple states, right? Multiple countries?
Multiple states, yes.
Right, okay.
And the same response. It was the same response.
That is amazing.
And I went to South Texas Bigfoot Conference, Southeast Texas Bigfoot Conference, and I wanted to share some of my findings, and there's one symbol that if you want to know if they're in the area, just place this symbol out on the ground. And somebody was talking to me about that. I was talking to him. I said, here, I drew a picture, and I said, try this. I told her the length of the branches to use and the width, the diameter. And she said, okay, I'll try it. She went out and placed this symbol, and the next day she had reactions. They were already messing with the branches.
Wow.
So to me, it's just like, and the one, I can't remember which one it was. There was over 134 different syllabic that they use. 134. And some of them are vertical.
Yeah.
A lot of people they're out walking in the woods, and they see these shelters or whatever they're calling them now, that makeshift shelters. And if you look closely in a lot of these that are being found, there are syllabic in those structures, depending on which angle you look at.
That makes
sense. If you look at this structure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And in the north, especially in Canada and the colder countries, they make lots of vertical symbols standing up because of the snowfall. That's only, to me, that's a sign of intelligence. That's communication. And I know they communicate because we was in the section of Bigwoods we're in the early 2000s. And I told the story before, but that's okay. We pulled up in this little slough, and we cut our way through this bamboo. And chop, 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 chop. Okay, cut a trail through. Well, we had to go back. We pulled the boat up, cut the trail, and went on to our research stand. Well, the next morning we come back, there was this pretty good sized branch that was laid across into the trees above the trail. And I'm going, what in the world? Well, of course, I was accused of putting it there by somebody else. But anyway, that's besides the point. Because we didn't put it there. And, I had no idea they were using bamboo as a food source. And which they were. We'd found tons of evidence that they were
like chewing on it, and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were chewing on it and
that's like
spitting it.
That's like carbohydrates for them, right?
Yeah, and if you don't watch out, you get pretty stoned too.
Oh,
yeah, or kill you. Depends on how much you eat.
Yeah,
but the younger shoots are safer to eat than older ones, but I found the older ones, broke off at 4 or 5 feet, and then the very tops of the bamboo just snapped off and gone. Not by wind, not by birds, something
like a sign or something.
No, like they were just broken off and eaten. The tops, because they're more tender than the bottom of the stalk of bamboo.
Okay.
But see, and that's where I first started seeing these syllabic, was in that area. We'd be walking down a trail, and I'd see these branches. There'd be a square, then there might be a triangle, and then a square with one branch missing, all along these trails. I'm going, what in the world? And I took photographs of them, and that's the first time I've seen syllabic. And
we had on last year, we had Gary Lynn with Australian Yowie Research, and they call him the finder because he always finds the similar like structures and symbols and stuff. And I need to send you some of his pictures because he's sent me a bunch of stuff. And I talked to him about you. I said, you need to look up Luke Gross and this YouTube video and look at similar, because we were finding stuff like that like in the early 2000s. And
Right.
And he goes, really? So, like he sent us like bunch of like, you know, pictures like in the bush and like symbols and, you know, he just sent me tons and tons of stuff. And, I need to send you some of his stuff because I'm going to probably say that some of that stuff that he's been finding is stuff that you've already found. So
it's possible. And then they may have a totally different type of language there.
Yes.
As far as syllabic. But if they don't, if it is the same,
that's scary.
That's kind of scary and
kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah, and you say, hey, how far back does this go? Was this you know, Pangea maybe?
The summer and winter solace and stuff. I don't know. I mean, lots of stuff, and I don't know because I do recall in the early years whenever I was with the TBRC, I was really good friends with Eric Alpin, and he had just become like the director of Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, and he and I were sharing pictures of like you know tree structures and stuff like that. And he was finding the same stuff that we were finding, and I just thought that was amazing. I said, "Man, this is in like you know way other states and stuff." But now, I mean, the way we've always evolved and finding all this stuff, it's around the whole world, all this stuff, structures and.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it is, and then it's like, okay, why and how? But, you know, it's, like I said, I don't know. I can only tell you my opinion and what I think. And do I think they're from UFOs? No, I don't. I don't. But I can't say they're not either because but I don't think they are. But,
you know, I learned a lot from you. I mean, I learned a lot from you, how to break stuff down, where to look, how to think. I mean, you taught me lots of stuff, like, you know, even whenever we would get like Bigfoot sightings of an area that would rarely get Bigfoot sightings, you'd always tell me, goes, Bob, you got to research the area. I mean, like, you know, years ahead, you know, what used to be here? Was it a you know fish hatchery? Was it a farm? Was it a you know did they grow watermelons? I mean, I go, wow, I didn't even think about that. You know, if a older Bigfoot was coming through this area, maybe trying to find like an old fish hatchery that wasn't there anymore, and you know people saw it and then like reported it and stuff like that. So, because I would look at some of these sighting reports that we used to get, and I go, why would they be a Bigfoot here? Because you used to always tell me, okay, you know this Bigfoot was sighted here. Why is it here? Let's look outside the box. Let's look at why did he come through here? Why did people see it? And so I've always thought that was amazing the way you taught me on that, and you know, look at electrical right-of-ways, gas right-of-ways, it's just stuff like that. I mean,
all of the above,
yeah.
You know, and it's like now people say, well, I'm going to go to the piney woods and see if I can find a Bigfoot.
I like this voice that you're doing.
I know. It started like kind of like a mocking that he's like, oh no, wait, let me.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, but you know, I'm going to the piney woods and I'm gonna try and find a Bigfoot.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like Adam Sandler.
Okay, yeah. You can go to the piney woods and you can probably find a Bigfoot or multiple Bigfoot, but there's certain areas that you have to look for in the piney woods, and that would be the riparian forest that runs into the piney woods. That's all your deciduous forest. That's where your acorn trees are, and your food source trees are at, and that's where they're going to be, and next to the water. And what goes into the riparian forest? The deer, the wild pigs, and all the other animals, and they'll pass through these pine thickets, and they might a deer go into the pine thickets, sure, and eat the pine cone nuts, but the pignons, but it's you got to kind of think ahead of what's going on. Like I had somebody, matter of fact, I believe it was, who was it? It was Logan and
Logie,
Mary.
yeah, Logie.
Yeah, Logie. And, I told them where to go in the area here, outside of Mineola here.
Oh, yeah. He was telling me that. He was telling me that you had told him where to go, and he went out and set up, and I think he got some activity, too.
Yeah, he got tree knocks there. And, but that was only because I was walking down this trail, and the only reason I knew this is I'd heard some stuff come from the area, but I didn't know exactly where. And as I was walking down this trail, there were pine trees and a few other trees. But all of a sudden, here is a huge stand of bamboo. And the vegetation changed in this area. It automatically just instantly changed. And I walked through. Matter of fact, my wife and I were followed out of that area. And I said, this is why they're here. And I walked a little further down the trail, and I seen some branches, 3 branches leaned up against a tree. I'm going, okay, this is the spot. But if I didn't see that vegetation change, I wouldn't have went any further.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I told them, I said, just take this trail and go that way. And they're there, and they're still there. This time of year, they're there. And
yeah.
But it's just, if you just teach yourself, I learned a lot of stuff. I had to teach myself. I didn't go to school for biology and zoology, entomology, any of that. And so, what did I do? I read books, but I never read a Bigfoot book because I wanted to learn everything on my own.
I think that was awesome that's something that I know you told me in the past, 'cause I don't read it. So.
Yep. Then did I have a collection of Bigfoot books? I did, but I never read one of them.
Do you have Jerry Heston's book?
No. Yes, I do.
Do you? Okay.
I do. I have his book. And, but, it was just, there's so many things, that you can learn when you study. You say, well, you find out like at Leah's place, when we was hearing the tree breaks going on out there. Were you there that night when all those trees?
Yes, you told me.
Okay.
You told me exactly what time they were going to come through and do that, and actually they did.
Yeah, but I researched. I looked at those trees, found out what kind of trees they were, measured the height of the trees. That the only trees that were getting broken over were trees over 25 feet high. Mm-hmm. The smaller trees were not getting broke over. And the trees were Mexican plum trees.
Yes.
So to me, only the taller ones were getting broken over so that they could get the food. The shorter ones, they just walked up. And some of them were broken over to where they would still grow. They would continue growing and producing fruit. Now, go figure. Bigfoot farmer Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Agriculturalist Bigfoot. But, yeah, they would do that. And, I got into a little more and researched a little more.
Yeah, because I do recall that night when I was with you, you told me they're going to be coming by at a certain time. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. You said, I don't know.
It was about 9:45.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me they're going to be around here at about this time. They're gonna let us know that they're the alpha, they're the dominant, and then they're gonna come back around 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. And I go, okay, so Leah had do you remember this? She had a bunch of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever, these dogs were really friendly with us, but as soon as these 2 time zones were at its peak, these dogs were under the house.
Mm-hmm.
They were nowhere around anymore. So, and then I do recall, I was hearing pow. Pow. And I thought, at the time, it was a shotgun. And I go, someone's shooting. And you go, no, that's the Bigfoot breaking branches. And I go, oh, okay. And then, whenever it, and then, everything was calm after that. And we were talking. And then around 5 a.m, it was coming back around. And it yelled. Mm-hmm. It yelled so loud that my whole chest vibrated. And then you told me, Because at the very beginning you said you're either going to love this, Bob, or you're not.
Right.
So you told me that, and I go, okay. I said you're going to either want to keep doing this, or you're never going to come back out here again. And so as it came back and screamed, and my chest vibrated, it left, and I think we slept maybe like an hour or two or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, did y'all wake up to that screaming? Because I'd be pissed.
No, we were awake.
Back.
We were awake, but as it left, then it was like, I don't know, like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we just took a little nap. And I do recall you waking me up and you go, so you hooked? And I go, yeah, the hooks are in me. So, but that was probably one of the best experience I've had. Because I think every time you've taken me out, Luke, we've always experienced something.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been amazed by that. So,
and I'll be honest with you. I think that it's your mindset.
mm-hmm.
I can go out and people are going to think I'm crazy. I don't give a damn. But I can go out into an area and I can sense if they're there or not.
Mm-hmm.
You just get this feeling, and it could be because maybe the wildlife's all quiet and you're not really paying attention to the wildlife, and just maybe it's a basic instinct that we have that,
Our frequency.
there's something here.
Our frequency.
Yeah, we were at Hallsville. When we were at Hallsville, everybody got out. It was Billy, Cassie, and myself walked to the left corner of the cemetery there. And I looked at Billy. I said, something's not right. And we all three agreed, no, something's not right here. Something's up. And it wasn't much longer when that call came from the northwest.
Yeah.
And, it's just, I think you can sense when they're there. I can. Or they're going to let you know. Mm. They're going to let you know if they want to be known, then you'll get a scream. Most of the time it's more subtle, though. It's a more subtle introduction that I've experienced going into an area. If it's a big area, you might get a what I call a huff or the real gruff sound.
Yeah.
Get those or
like
just,
that.
Yeah, little rocks getting thrown. Just little rocks. Maybe a little stick.
Do you think that these Bigfoots, they know whenever you're out there, whenever this is you, Luke Gross?
Here, let me say this. Everywhere I've moved, since I was in Lone Oak, there was another place, but when I was in Lone Oak, I moved away, and I went to Golden, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They found me in Golden, Texas. I started having Bigfoot experiences there. And then I've come over here and I've already got like 10 reports from right here in Hawkins, Texas. And I've had things come up, not to my house, but behind my house, the weirdest whistling sounds you've ever heard. In the dead of night, freezing cold, and you go out there, and it wasn't an eastern screech owl. Mm-hmm. It was different whistles. And one day the neighbor came out and said, "Did you hear that sound last night?" I said, "I sure did." But they've always found where I'm at. And I used to call it, back in the day, scent association. Mm-hmm. They knew my scent, and if the same ones are coming through here that I've had encounters with before, I smell Luke. Oh my gosh, he needs to take a shower bad. No, but I think they can tell, and I think they can tell, like I said, your mindset. Right. I've always been open to them, as far as I'm not out here to hurt you. Matter of fact, I'd like to. When I first got started, I wanted to go disappear in the woods with them and stay with them, but that never worked out. That's okay though.
Y'all were reenacting Back to the Future. They found me, Bobby. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Bobby.
I would
Bigfoot.
I was going to ask you, do you remember, and I say this story all the time, and I always talk about the story, but do you recall when we were with the TBRC, we got a phone call from some lady in Kentucky, and she was talking about, because I remember it was over the phone, and I think
Don't go there, Bob. Don't go there. I know where you're going.
This was the first time you involved me in like an incident report or something like that, and it was a lady that claimed that Bigfoot wanted to have sex with her, and she knew this was true because this Bigfoot was coming down the mountain with a glowing penis.
A blue glowing penis.
Do you recall that?
100%.
Okay.
I trust me. I wish I'd never let that report out. But I'm going to be. And I honestly researched everything. You know how I am. I said, okay, what could make these Bigfoot's penises glow blue? And I started looking, and there's honestly in that area, in the same mountain where she was at, there were mushrooms that grew there. They were called jack-o'-lantern mushrooms that glowed blue.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, and I said, okay, well, who knows? But yeah, we was on the phone with her, and there was two of us, one in hiding, actually.
Yeah.
And listening to this conversation, and it was like somebody I know went there. Somebody went there and said yes. And they said, no, this is no possible way. I said, okay, that's good. But I got to live with that story from now on. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Because I do recall after that, I asked her, go, Luke, is that possible? And you go, yeah, you know, phosphorescent. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So I always, I tell that story every now and then, and I say, you know, I was indoctrinated to TBRC that way. So,
yeah,
glowing penis.
It's called.
Have you never?
Umphilotus olerarius.
Umphilotus olerarius.
Hilarious.
That's the Latin name for it. Awesome.
Jack-o'-lantern mushroom is a poisonous orange-gilled mushroom.
Man, he wanted to. Oh, never mind.
Appear similar, yeah, is notable for its bioluminescent properties.
Awesome.
There you go. You did it.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
Luke, what are your thoughts on skinwalkers and dogman werewolves?
Oh my gosh, that's a pretty in-depth subject. But I'm a pretty big fan of Skinwalker Ranch. Huge on the TV show. You know, whether a lot of it's true, they've got photographs from there of some things that look like an upright walking animal. You know, I've never seen one. I've never seen a dog man. I've known a lot of people that say they have. And I believe Lori Phillips is one.
Okay.
Who has seen one in East Texas. So it could be possible. Another cryptid out there that nobody knows about. Just few and far between. So, and skinwalkers. Yeah. I mean, if the magic is good, which is, I can't remember the tribe that's out there. Or the nation that's there that have the skinwalkers, but you know they were cursed, and then they would turn into skinwalkers and supposedly cause damage. But they did get a video out there of some animal attacking. I believe it was some llamas, no alpaca, and. I don't know if you follow the program, but they had a cage set up where they would put animals in to see if a skinwalker would come and attack. And they got video of something. I couldn't tell what it was, but, I haven't seen one, so I don't know.
I know we had Michael Sulfer on earlier this year, and he was saying that that they're not supposed to, as a Native American, they're not supposed to talk about stuff like that. They're not supposed to say it or mention it or tell the story of it, because then they get themselves get cursed or get attacked on it.
Or whistle at night.
Yeah.
Do not whistle at night. There's another thing too. Oh my goodness, can't think.
It's just interesting, to run into all that, because I know whenever we were the TBRC, we were flesh and blood and stuff like that. But whenever I left, I was open to talking to a lot of people, and I just heard so many different stories and portals and mind speak and disappearing and the woods swallowing up a Bigfoot, and there's just there's so many stories, and I don't want to discount everything, and if someone brings you a story, I try to listen to them and try to help them out the best I can, but there's just so many things out there that, like you were saying earlier, that we just don't know enough of.
So very true, and we don't, and I wouldn't want to meet a skinwalker. I wouldn't want to have a run-in with one, or a dog man, or a werewolf. That's just. Of course, I think the werewolves, the loup-garou of Louisiana, that could be possible dogman right there.
Yeah.
I have found tracks. Of what I believe could be a dogman, because I was in Louisiana and I seen this set of tracks, huge tracks. It had 3 pads on it and chisel claws that come out and sink into the ground.
Dogs have what, 3 pads, and cats have what? How many?
4.
4 pads.
And I was looking, and I noticed something. I was looking for the front pads. There weren't any. No, it was 4. There was 4 of them on the ground. I found them. And it went to a creek, a shallow creek, probably 2 feet tall, deep. And there was only 2 tracks that went across the creek. So whatever it was stood up on 2 legs, walked across the creek, and went back down again. And I've never seen these kind of tracks ever again until Linda Godfrey, rest her soul,
right,
showed me some photographs. And I said, oh my gosh.
She's a good lady.
Oh, awesome lady. Awesome. Absolutely. But, she showed me some photographs, and it was, well, maybe. But, that's the only thing I've seen. Now, I've heard some sounds out there in the field that I didn't know what they were. They weren't Bigfoot. I've heard a lot of different Bigfoot. They were more canine sounding, but huge howls and sounds.
I don't know enough about Dogman to talk about it. I know I listen to Vic Cundiff stuff a lot, and he's got tons and tons of stories about Dogman, but there's very little, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, just go ahead and write into me and tell me. But there's not that many stories of a dogman attacking people. And I know Linda Godfrey's, and I can't remember, in one of her books, I want to say Monster Among Us. She writes that she had theorized that most of these dogman sightings were around areas where Native Americans in the past had food sources, like, they were growing plants, or they had water, wells or whatever, or canals or something. And that this dogman was there, I guess, from their shaman to protect the area from other people, from other settlers or something like that. And so we're getting the remnants of these dogman sightings, that they just show up, because they're bound to this area. And, I could be wrong. They're bound to this area to protect it. And whether, these these livestock or these food sources or these areas that they're planting still there or not. They're just bound to these areas, and that's why people run into them a lot in these areas. I don't know. That's I read that on like one of her books, and I thought that was fascinating because there's not a lot of stories of them actually. Because like they're big. I hear stories on Vic's show that are like 12, 10 feet tall, and if they're that big, they're bigger than most Bigfoot, and so they can do a lot of damage. And if they're doing a lot of damage, then you'd hear more stories about, them killing people or killing livestock and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it was fascinating.
Very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, is there anything that you want to pitch? Anything where you're going to be speaking at, or you have a book you're going to be coming out with, or
movie?
No, the book's not finished.
Okay.
And my videos, I've had so many health problems as of late. Mm-hmm. I've had to just kind of lay a lot of stuff down and concentrate on getting healthy. But no engagements. I'll be at the Tyler Paracon tomorrow.
Okay.
And but just as a visitor, just as a guest, just listening to people speak. There'll be
you were supporting James, right? James Poe.
Oh yeah, James, and I think there's going to be a few other people there. There's going to have some roundtable discussions and that I might like to get in on. Maybe.
Well, that's good. Tell James I said hello.
I definitely will.
I miss him. He's such a good guy. I really like him a lot. So I was glad you introduced me to him. So he was a good dude.
He's a good guy. He really is.
It seems like he cares like so much about other people, and so anyway. Okay. Well, Luke, anytime you want to come back on, man, you're more than welcome. I love you to death, and I want to thank you for being my friend, my mentor, for coming out to the hospital to see me. That meant the world to me. I just want you to know that I was in a really dark spot at that time, and to see you and Cassie, and there to just to give me love and support. I mean that.
Well, you needed it.
Yeah,
you needed it, and
I think
we were there.
Too.
What?
I think he met the boys too.
Yeah,
I did. I did.
And like I think even you met my my brothers too. I think.
I did.
And
really nice people, super nice.
Raymond, Steve, and Richard was there.
Yeah, they were asking me, who's this Luke guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, where did he come from?
I know. I go, he's local.
He's local. Man. He's local.
Just call me El Pato Lucas. That's okay.
Yeah.
Giganto Tejano, right?
That's right. Giganto Tejano. That's right.
So,
I like that.
And that is still my email address.
yes, I know.
Wow.
Still to this day.
At Yahoo or AOL?
Yeah.
Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Yeah. All right. Well, Luke, thank you for coming on. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you. I love you.
I enjoyed it. I love you guys too.
Okay.
And Bob, be good, and just let me know about
Matt
when Matt wants to do the show.
All right. I will let you know.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay.
Love you.
All right. Bye.